Beautiful souls, how are you doing today? So welcome back to my channel, Breathe and Balance. My name is Chathuri Jayasooriya and I'm a psycho-spiritual practitioner, healer, therapist. So today I thought I'll add to what I spoke of last week, which is perspective, right? And in that video, uh, we spoke about how perspectives are created and how these perspectives ultimately create our reality, and how, therefore, we can shift our reality by shifting our perspectives for a more wholesome experience of life. So today I want to share like two techniques which we can apply in our day-to-day lives in any situation to shift these perspectives, right? So the first technique is to gain a higher perspective. Right now, what does it mean to gain a higher perspective? It means to elevate ourselves or the position from which we view a particular situation or an experience in our life, right? So, because usually as humans, we tend to be drowned and absorbed in whatever the situation that we face in our lives, right? It's a very direct experience. So we are very subjective. Our emotions are involved, and there are a lot of thought processes taking place, which breed more emotions, and that leads to like more thoughts, and the story is woven, and then before we know it, we are really entangled in the situation, and we can't separate the thoughts, the emotions, and it all becomes a part of this experience, and we keep reacting. That's why it's difficult for us to take a step back and respond calmly from a state of balance and neutrality. So that's because like a lot of emotions are involved, which create a lot of charge, which pulls us this way, that way, you know. um, and we get absorbed, sunk uh, into the drama of it. Right? That's how we create the drama. And because things happen in quick succession, it's usually difficult for us to arrest it and really look at the situation from an objective point of view, especially if we are not used to any kind of practice based on mindfulness, right? Where the mind is able to sort of observe what is being experienced and create a kind of a distance between that experience and the self. Right? So it all becomes one, like, so we identify with the experience because we have this perception that there is a self, right? So there's a selfing happening, and we become the experience, and the experience becomes us. So that's why there's a lot of attachment there and a lot of charge, right? So in such situations, it's difficult for us to kind of make objective decisions that are in the highest good. Now, when I say objective, it doesn't mean that, you're cold and unfeeling. But I'll probably do another video on what detachment actually means. But here, what I'm meaning is kind of like creating a distance between, um, us and the actual experience of it, so that we can have like a broader, more kind of a balanced, fuller appreciation of what is actually happening in this experience that we call our reality. Okay, so coming back to like technique one, it's to take a higher perspective. So that means we are elevating, as I mentioned, right? So if we are here drowned, experiencing, we are now detaching. One of the best ways in which we can achieve this, in my experience, is to place ourselves on top of a mountain. Now, use your imagination for this. Just imagine or visualize that you are on top of a mountain and viewing whatever is happening in this particular situation from there, from on top of a mountain, right? So you can see in yourself and whoever who is involved in this particular situation and how they are behaving, the thought processes running in their minds, the dynamics, everything from that perspective. So what I do is I like to imagine myself to be either my higher self or a future self, or sometimes I even connect and imagine myself to be one of my guides, by connecting with them, because that helps me create that distance between the actual event that my ego personality is experiencing down there, and myself, right? So I breathe like this different being who has a higher perspective and much more wisdom, unconditional love. I give myself all the qualities that would help me perceive or view this situation from a different perspective, a perspective that is much more wholesome and more balanced and more objective and peaceful, right? So I absorb those energies, those qualities into myself, and use your imagination to the best level as you can. It's perfectly okay, because anyway we are living in an imagined reality. Reality, as I mentioned earlier in the previous episode as well, it's a creation, right? There is nothing true about it. There's no ultimate truth there. They're all conventional or subjective realities and truths that we have created, which also means that they're malleable and they can be recreated, right? By shifting our perspective. And this is exactly what we are doing, right? So imagine, that you are viewing it from this higher place and see what is going on down there. And trust me, when you keep practicing it, you'll gain a lot of insights, because now you're not so identified with it. Your ego, you're giving a break to the ego mind, you are taking it out of the way. And you're actually involving your intuitive mind, the knowing part of ourselves, which let's call it like the soul, which encompasses a lot of wisdom and love and peace and hope, and these beautiful qualities. It's already there. So what we're actually doing here is to tap into that. Just like how when you are acting on a play, let's say, um, you assume a different character, right? You become somebody else, right? And you give life to that particular role. So this is exactly what we are doing. We become, someone who's able to see things from a different perspective, from a higher, more elevated, wiser perspective. And we broaden that perspective and look at the situation that we are in from that perspective, right? And from there, we will automatically gain a different view and different understanding, insights that are going to be so useful in resolving whatever the conflict or problem that is being experienced through this particular situation, right? So try that. And it's really interesting when you observe the situation from this angle or this position, because you're going to observe yourself as well as other people, right? And you're going to see yourself very differently. And, a lot of the time it becomes quite amusing, when you see the drama that we create all the time by involving the mind. The mind that always tends to create the abyss, right? So from this high elevated position, especially when we are viewing it through the lens of unconditional love, wisdom, so on, we are able to see it with a detachment and even amusement, and that sense of amusement itself will create a huge shift within you. Right? So try it out and let me know, comment down below as to what happened when you experimented with this, right? And approach it with a curious mind just to experiment and see what happens, without any attachment to outcomes and things like that. Just have fun, play with it and see how it works. So the technique number two is actually to pose certain questions that create more possibility for the mind. The mind is what creates all these illusions and stories and perspectives and things like that, right? So because of that, it kind of eliminates or limits the possibilities, because when the mind chooses a particular perspective, it's a lens, right? And everything is seen through that lens. If we wear, blue lenses, you'll see everything, through a blue perspective, right? So if you are viewing everything with the perspective of anger, let's say, or sadness, you're going to see everything, angrily or sadly, you know. So it's kind of that energy that you infuse into everything. That's what the mind keeps doing, right? And it creates a habit out of it. So one of the best ways to break through the patterns, the habit patterns, is to ask questions that create possibility for the mind. And one of the best questions that I find very effective is to ask what if questions, right? Okay. Just imagine whatever situation that you want to find a better solution or better experience through a different possibility, let's say, right? A particular conflict that you have or anything in your life, right? And just pose the question, what if? Or let's say you have a particular situation where you are feeling stuck, right? And you don't see a way out of it. And you're trying to control, you're trying to find solutions, but you keep getting entrenched and stuck. So what if you could pause, right? And if possible, take that higher perspective as well and try to ask the questions from that elevated perspective. But even if not, you can do this separately, independently as well. Just ask the question, okay, what if it is possible for me to find a solution? What if I'm just not seeing all the possibilities right now? But what if so many possibilities exist that I have not seen as yet? What if the divine can find the ideal solution for me for this situation, right? What if I am actually free of this situation? What if I could completely surrender, let go of control? What if this situation is resolved harmoniously and everybody involved is experiencing peace and harmony and joy and love? What if all healing is actually there? Just imagine, just allow your imagination to expand into these wholesome possibilities and keep asking these questions throughout the day. Keep giving it to your mind. And at the same time, when you ask the question, what if, allow your body to feel it. Now, this is the embodiment that I keep emphasizing on because it's very important for the body also to accompany the mind on this journey, right? And feel what it feels like to actually be in a resolved situation, like the situation in your life, the conflict, whatever, actually being resolved. Or if it's a health situation, you being completely healthy and that whatever the illness not being there, right? And you being in a very healthy body, right? How is it going to feel like, to be in this harmonious relationship, to be in a healthy body, to experience financial freedom and abundance? How is it going to feel in the body? Now you're creating a possibility just as you're thinking about it, creating that possibility in your mind. moment you say, what if, I have all the financial resources I need right here, right now, how is it going to feel in my body? Because the moment you are giving that what if possibility to the mind, it doesn't go into that analyzer and the logical, rational processes that it's used to. It kind of creates this opening, right? So the mind may try to respond saying, but this, but that, but you keep, asking counter like questions using the what if. But what if it's possible? Create possibility, make your body also feel it, the joy, the happiness, the wellness, hope, all those beautiful qualities, and see what happens, in some time. Of course, give it some time, because that recalibration process has to happen energetically, in your heart, mind, body, and soul. It's one system working together. So things need to recalibrate. So it may not happen overnight, but keep practicing, because as I always tell my clients, practice is the key. Even if you choose one method, whatever it is that you choose, one single practice, do it at least for 5 minutes every single day. That's what restructures our nervous system and our neuronal pathways and creates a new reality in the 3D physical reality, right? Because it's a physical experience that we need to have in the physical reality, but it starts in the spiritual realm or metaphysically outside of the body or beyond the physical reality, in the energetic realm, right? Or the spiritual realm, whatever you want to refer to it as. But we create that reality out there in the astral realm by using our mental capacities, our imaginary skills. That is the right side of the brain hemisphere that we are using, and our intuitive minds as well. And here it's kind of like, how to say, bypassing. I don't like to use the word tricking, but it's kind of like, moving through the barriers and the resistances that the ego mind creates to keep us small and safe, but small at the same time. That prevents us from growing. It restricts our growth, right? So do try these two techniques that I shared to shift your perspective and see how it shifts your reality as well in time, right? Just choose like a small experience or a situation in your life and keep practicing it. And I would love to hear what your experience is after you practice it for some time, whether you were able to shift your reality and how did it feel, right? So, I mean, this is how we create magic and miracles in our lives, actually. And we are totally capable of that. It just takes a simple practice or two, and more than anything, commitment to ourselves, right? So I wish you all the best, and may you experience all the magic and miracles in life, right? And do keep in touch. Would love to hear from you. And as always, let us pause for a little while and do some breathing to integrate all this, right? So take a moment and close your eyes and take a gentle breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you breathe in and breathe out, just allow yourself to fully relax into your body. Following the breath, because it's the breath that helps us anchor ourselves in the here and the now, where all possibilities exist. That's a portal that opens up for us to tap into and choose any possibility that is in our highest good, as per our preference, our choice. We have that power. but it is a choice that we need to make in the here and the now to use that power as co-creators of our own reality. As you breathe in and breathe out, remind yourself that you always have the opportunity to shift your perspective, to elevate it into a high perspective, into creating new possibilities that would help you access new realities through new experiences that bring you joy, peace, love. So as you breathe in and breathe out, allow all these possibilities to seep into your heart, mind, body, and soul. To each and every cell, each and every neuronal pathway, and your whole nervous system. Visualize it all recalibrating into the possibilities that you want to experience as your reality. Allow it to shift your perspective into new possibilities, into new realities of love, peace, harmony, beauty. Breathing in and breathing out. Love these possibilities and perspectives to become your new reality. Whenever you are ready, gently open your eyes. And thank you for joining me today. And if you did enjoy this and if you found this helpful, please click the like button and feel free to subscribe and share with those you feel would benefit from discourses and practices like this. So till we meet next, have a beautiful day ahead. Bye for now.